Here comes Spider-Man. I'm ready. What up, guys? Fallen Marvel here to talk about some big news that broke this week. Looks like Marvel and Sony finally got their stuff together and chosen a new Spider-Man. Had to go ahead and dress accordingly for the occasion. So let's talk about our new Spider-Man. So it all came down to 19-year-old British actor Tom Holland. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's the first time I ever heard of the kid. So obviously after the news broke, I had to go and do a little research, and I came across a little movie he was in called The Impossible. The movie came out in 2012. It's based on a true story about a family vacationing in Asia, and they get hit with a massive tsunami. They get separated, and it shows through the perspective of the oldest son trying to find the rest of his family members after they get separated and going to different relief areas or whatever after the tsunami. The movie also stars big names Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor, and I managed to find some clips online, and I have to say Tom actually holds his own pretty well and shows some pretty good acting chops. And based on his performance in The Impossible, he seems to be doing pretty well, so I have no gripes about this kid playing Peter Parker. I found it interesting that the kid actually has some gymnastic skills, which probably helped him even get the role in the first place. Of course, people are already divisive about him playing Peter Parker as any big superhero character. I mean, we could even go back to Michael Keaton in Batman, where they received 50,000 petitions to have him not even play Batman because he was a comedic actor. Yes, fanboyism was alive and well in the 80s too. Now, as I've already said, I have no reservations about this kid playing Peter Parker. So far, he looks to be, very promising, and I have no complaints about it. One of the things I'm very glad about as far as casting is the fact that they're obviously going with a young Peter Parker, so it makes sense for them to cast a young actor. Now, from what I understand, he's going to be about 15 or 16. Tom Holland is 19, and he looks like he could play somebody that's, between 16, 17, or whatever. Yeah, it seemed like they were starting a trend of casting people who got responsibilities. I concur with that, Marv, because you gotta look at it this way. Both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield both were bordering on 30 years old when they first played Spider-Man. And you gotta think about it. After so long, you can only play a late teen, early 20-something for so long. In Andrew's defense, he could probably get away with it. I mean, that's debatable, but the fact is, the man is over 30 now. I mean, it's only so much long he could play a post-high school, going into college Peter Parker when, he's already like past 30 already. He already lived half his life already. True. Now, for me personally, I still have to look through Tom's resume and just see what kind of stuff he acted in, just to get like a really good interpretation of what he'll be taking into playing Peter Parker. But so far, I have no reservations as to why he couldn't. So, I mean, we pretty much already established that. But, I mean, so far, it looks really good. Obviously, we need to focus on him making sure that he's the best Spider-Man so far. That I can agree on with you. When looking back on the previous Spider-Man movies, going back to Tobey Maguire, I mean, I can admit, I've thoroughly enjoyed those movies a lot. Minus the third, right? Yeah, minus the third. Even though I enjoyed the first two, the thing is, as I get older and looking back on them, I have to realize that I have to take them for what they are, which are basically campy and just fun comic book movies that's supposed to be reminiscent of the original comic books, which they were. But when I think about it now, like, them as characters were hard to relate to. And probably the biggest gripe I had with Spider-Man is that he didn't wisecrack. That was like my biggest thing with the Raimi trilogy. That's like the basic necessity for Spider-Man. That's like the blueprint of his herodom, is that he has to wisecrack while beating people up. That's just his niche, and it works for him. Like, if you really think about it, like, he only had like 2 wisecracks per movie, if you can even count some of them as wisecracks. It was just like he was just a dull Spider-Man. I mean, the action was great, but just overall he was just dull. I hear that one, and don't even let me get started on Mary Jane. Oh dear God, worst girlfriend ever. But, you know, if you take them for what they are, they're still a lot of fun. Except the third one. Spider-Man 3, you are dead to me. And when we look at the more recent Amazing Spider-Man movies, I have to say I did enjoy Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. The only problem I have with him is that as Peter Parker, his confidence factor was like way up. And it really like took the misfit aspect away from him. That's one of two things I would have done different. The other thing was to cast him college age. I want him already in college. There's no point in having him go back to high school. Well, yeah, but didn't Peter Parker become Spider-Man in high school? I mean, yes, he did, but the thing is, we've already gotten that story. And since they're supposed to be telling a different one, me personally, I would have had him be at least like a senior coming out of high school, going into college, and just kind of go from there. There's no point of like starting all the way in high school again. Well, you got a point, I guess. Well, either way, it's my point, so whatever. Get smart at me again and see what happened. I really thought that the reboot Amazing Spider-Man had potential to really go into good direction, but then Amazing Spider-Man 2 happened and that messed some things up, and it was just like, okay, we gonna have to do something different because this ain't working out. But fast forward to 2015 and Marvel and Sony making a deal, and we're gonna have Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I can't wait for. I'm ready to see, you know, everything else that's coming out. I'm still waiting to see Ant-Man, Captain America Civil War, whatever else is coming down the pike. Hey, I'm in line. Yeah, you better make sure you got a ticket ready for me too. Marv, you're inside my head. You don't need a ticket. Oh yeah, as you were. I'm looking forward to seeing what his performance is like. I have no reason to think he's going to give a bad performance. So, hey, let's just wait and see what happens. We still got a lot of comic book stuff coming with, you know, Deadpool and all this other stuff, whatever. Hey, all we can do is just wait and see and hope for the best. So, guys, that's how I feel about the new Spider-Man. So, I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys feel about what we have in our new Spider-Man. So, go ahead, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and remember to follow my advice to keep it nerdy but nerd responsibly. Just follow Marvel out.